What's going on, guys? It's BD Legend. Welcome back to another video. You guys absolutely smashed the targets on the Tiger Mountain video, so you guys have absolutely earned more videos about scenery secrets and scenery Easter eggs, and you voted that you wanted to see the pumpkin graveyard scenery secrets, so we're gonna go ahead and give you that right now. We're gonna start in the top right corner here. Now, one thing that you'll see throughout this entire scenery is that there are a lot of pumpkins, a lot of jack-o'-lanterns all over this pathway that's going to develop, so that is a very cool part. And there are some animated features as well. The smoke in most of the scenery is completely animated, and right now at the bottom of the screen you guys will see these bats. These bats are really awesome, and they are throughout the entire scenery. They actually have these blue eyes and they have a black body. It's a really cool aesthetic. I'm going to be pointing out where all of these bats are, and you guys can see if you guys can find them yourself as well. The water on the top side is animated, and the fog in the caverns are also animated. So there are some very cool aspects there. So now we're coming to the main part of the top side of the base, which is the little pumpkin hut that we have here. Now you guys can see already a few more bats, and there is an entrance to this pumpkin hut, and on the entrance there are two white skulls, so that is a really interesting part. So a few more jack-o'-lanterns, a few more bats as well, so very cool. 3 bats in the bottom corner there. And then we can go ahead and zoom in on this pumpkin house itself. The pumpkin house looks very cool, and it's also got a lot of fog, a lot of animated portions to it. It looks like an angry pumpkin house, but of course a house nevertheless. Extremely interesting, and I think overall one of the best features of the entire scenery is right here, just because of all the animated features that are going on. There's fog, there's water, there's a lot of stuff going on here, so overall a really nice part of the scenery. It's got a lot of pumpkin vines going up too, to display obviously that the pumpkin is there, and a bunch of more bats if you guys haven't seen them. Now there are these lanterns on the path as well. The lanterns are animated as well. They've got these little fireflies going around them, so they are cool, and you will see that throughout the base. Now we're going into the right side, the bottom right side of the base, and this part is really cool because we have a graveyard. Now, obviously there's a huge pumpkin and a graveyard, the pumpkin graveyard scenery, like we know that that's going to be there, but overall some really cool aspects here. In the middle we have a mausoleum with a crown on top, and that mausoleum actually has baby dragons on top of the doors, so those baby dragons are really cool. And overall I think this is some type of baby dragon graveyard, and I'm going to show you exactly why that's the case. So this is a cool feature in the scenery. All of the smoke here is animated as well, and I really like this about this scenery. It's actually something that this scenery has that I feel like not a lot of other sceneries have. There's like a passive smoke that just passes through. A bunch of bats all around here on all of these trees, so overall very cool. We've got a few gravestones that look like they have skulls on them, but that skull also looks like the Super Troop sign, so that's an interesting thing to think about. Maybe they're Super Troop graves, who knows. There's also a coffin with just a bone in it, so I'm not sure if that's supposed to signify anything. On the other side we have a coffin with a few bones in it, so that's really interesting. And the fog here, the fog animation just looks really cool. It's personally one of my favorite things about this scenery. We have a few empty graves, so that's really interesting here. And on top of that we have more bats. We have a cart that's got something on top of it. It looks like some type of coffin, but of course it's really hard to identify exactly what it is, but super cool stuff there. There's a little lantern on the bottom right. There's some empty graves, some empty coffins, so a lot of cool stuff going on here, and a bunch of bats that are going. If you get to the front of the graveyard, this is why I was saying it was going to be a baby dragon graveyard, because there are baby dragons at both sides of the entrance to the graveyard itself, so it does seem likely that, you know, baby dragons are a really cool theme that's being spread around here. Now, one more thing that we have to see with the graveyard is the huge king statue in itself. Now, if you guys have not seen the king statue is a very cool part of this graveyard. His sword is actually on the bottom where like somebody's name would be, so it's just a sword, and on top of that he's got like some type of Thanos gauntlet on. Overall really cool. He looks like he's doing a little zombie walk as well, which is a really nice feature, I think. All the lanterns of course animated, which is really awesome. We're gonna transition onto the bottom side, well, the bottom right. We're still on the bottom right of the base, and right now we're just looking at a village in general. There is a tree with a bunch of bats on it. There's a bunch of bats everywhere, and then there are a bunch of little huts that have animated smoke coming out of the chimneys. Of course, really nice. I love animation. And there are some jack-o'-lanterns as well. These jack-o'-lanterns have what looks like candy inside of them, and there's also a wizard scarecrow, which is really nice. The wizard has a jack-o'-lantern head, so So that is a really cool aspect as well. One thing that's really interesting here is the well that we have. So the well that's here is actually, it looks like some type of haunted well. There's like some type of green and purple smoke coming out of it. That is a really nice Easter egg, a really nice thing to find. So overall, these huts, everything on this side, the bottom right side of the map, pretty cool. A lot of animation, a lot of detail, which is of course something that we all love to see. The village is going to continue until we reach the waterfront here, and that's when we're going to transition into the water portion of the base. Now unfortunately, unlike the Tiger Mountain scenery, there's not a lot of water animation going on, a lot of fireworks or things like that. It's just a bunch of water just moving. But we do have the ghost ship, which is actually pretty dope. Like, if you guys haven't seen the ghost ship, it is really cool. A lot of people are saying that, oh, this means another village. I don't think so. This is just a ghost ship, and it reminds me of the ghost ship in SpongeBob. If you guys know the OG show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this is a really cool aspect, a really cool thing that they've added, and of course it's well drawn out, so it's pretty awesome. We're gonna continue to the left side of the base, the final corner of the base, if you will. We've got some more smoke coming along. I've seen that the smoke kind of comes out, so when you're first coming to where you're seeing the map, the smoke kind of just draws out, which is a really cool feature. I don't know if they coded that on purpose or anything, but what we see here is a witch village. Now this is actually really interesting. If we take a look at this village, you can see a bunch of course, bats. The bats are everywhere, but you can see a bunch of cauldrons, and these cauldrons have these pink, probably elixir inside of it, right? They're probably boiling elixir. We've got two skeletons actually taking a bath in this elixir, so that's actually a cool feature. I think all of these houses have these little bird houses on them, so I'm not sure what those bird houses are doing. Maybe it's for the bats, who knows, right? In my opinion, I think this is some type of witch village, and if you take a close look, this is actually super interesting. If you take a close look, you can see that animated bats are actually coming in and out of this part of the village. This is one of those Easter eggs I feel like not everybody got for sure. Like, there's a lot of things that you miss on these sceneries, and if you don't spend proper time with them, you won't see. But if you guys just wait, you can see that there's an animated bat that's actually coming. It might be going into one of these bird houses, I'm not really sure, but overall pretty awesome part of the entire village here. This village has some really awesome stuff. There's actually a hut with a cauldron on top of it, so make of that what you will. That's really interesting. We have a little bit of a cave here on the right side. The cave has a bunch of cobwebs on it because of course this is supposed to be a spooky base and a spooky setup, so that makes a lot of sense. And then inside the cave, we actually never see what's inside the cave. There's a little bat you can see through as well, and then a bunch of cobwebs in the corner as well. And then after that, guys, I mean, that's pretty much the entire scenery, but I am not going to finish there. There have actually been a number of bats across this map. There's so many bats on this map, and I've been pointing arrows at as many bats as I have found. However, there is a number of bats that I have not pointed out. That is right, I have left Easter eggs in this video regarding the Easter eggs of the Pumpkin Graveyard Challenge. So if you guys can find out where those bats are, leave a timestamp in the comments and then point out where the bat is on the video, then of course you guys are gonna get a shout out in the next video. So really awesome, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of the Pumpkin Graveyard scenery, and I will see you guys in the next video.